Greetings, friends. I am Reverend Dr. Tim Turner, otherwise known as Pastor Tim, and I am very excited to be on this journey with you as we study and get to know better who the Holy Spirit is and the ministry of the Holy Spirit. From the beginning, there's something ironic about this topic that we're talking about. And it's not every day that here we are teaching about a person we each already know quite well. In fact, we could say that the Holy Spirit knows us better than any other. And if we are born again children of God, Scripture's clear. We don't need a teacher. The Holy Spirit is that teacher. And so it's something ironic that here we are studying uh, someone we already know, a person of the Godhead, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, that we already know. And yet I'm humbled to be on this journey with you as we get to know the person of the Holy Spirit better. Really, I think the journey ahead is going to be a fun one. I'm recording this video for two reasons. One, I want to break the ice and let you get to know me a little bit, but also I want to do a little bit of an overview of the syllabus. I find that that's important before we begin. So like I said, I'm Pastor Tim Turner. I pastor in deep East Texas. I'm in the Trinity Conference of the Global Methodist Church and pastor two churches out here in the Piney Woods area of the Trinity Conference. I also serve as the Dean and Director of the School of Ministry in the Trinity Conference, and thoroughly enjoy that work. It is God-given work that is life-giving for me. Um, Definitely, God has called me to the ministry of teaching as well as leading, and so I just want to be faithful in that work. And this is an exciting endeavor we're going to be on. I have a young family, two young girls, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my wife, and we live out here in East Texas, and I grew up in East Texas, so this is home for me. So that's me. I want to shift gears and look at the syllabus a little bit. So if you want to get it in front of you, that way you can follow along. Maybe you pause the video so you can get it and replay. But just talking down it, class is on Thursday, 2 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. Central Time. I know that there was an incorrect announcement that went out about Tuesdays, but Thursday is the day that we will meet for class. And so our very first class is September 11th, and you can see that in the syllabus. The schedule on the syllabus is accurate. Um, so just looking down the syllabus, you need to make sure that you have the Jones book, the Sanders book, and go ahead and start reading them. And I've outlined when you might want to read what in the schedule, but if you're able to just read those books, they're not very long books. And if you're able to just devote and sit down and let's just read this one this week and this one next week, but if you're a person that needs to read piecemeal, the schedule outlines how you might do that best and succeed. You also want to make sure you have a book of doctrine and discipline. Now, you can get this in PDF form at globalmethodist.org for free, or from Seedbed, the English version of the book of doctrine and discipline is available. And I've really enjoyed having a published version in front of me. So we are going to reference that and read through some sections of that. Another material that you're going to want to get, mine's over there in my office right now, but is the annotated catechism. You could work from the Global Methodist Catechism, just the catechism, which is free online, but I highly recommend the annotated version. Dr. David De Silva has done a great job on giving little annotated paragraphs for each question of the catechism. And we will read through sections of the catechism as we explore class together. I will provide little snippets of John Wesley sermons along the way and some historical works along the way, but the recommended text give you a lot of good stuff to work with, especially for the papers and the project if you want to get some additional materials. I recommend those. Particularly one book that I'm going to use in another version of this class is the book. Oh, let me make sure I'm reading it right. Um, it's the Thistleton book. It's number nine on the recommended text. So Thistleton, A Shorter Guide to the Holy Spirit, Bible Doctrine and Experience. I highly recommend that one if you only get one of the recommended books. That's the one that I would look at. So moving on, we're going to look at class participation is really important. So we do have that weekly Thursday lecture, and I know sometimes we're not able to attend synchronously. When I use the word synchronous, I mean that when we meet live, that's synchronous. When we are not live at the same time, that's asynchronous. And so every week I will record the lectures, and if something comes up, you can attend asynchronously. But there's an important note to read in the syllabus. For one, class participation is 20% of your grade. So every week, every single student is going to need to submit an attendance quiz that simply says, I was present or says, I watched the video. Now, if I don't see you in class, then you need to email me after the lecture posts a brief synopsis. It's written there right in the syllabus, a brief synopsis of major learning points from that week's lecture in order to get full participation credit. If I do not get that email from you and I do not see you in live class, I cannot count you as present during that week. So please make sure to email me if you're not able to be present for the week, and I will track that in your weekly participation grade. Discussion boards, I think, are going to be fun. I've intentionally crafted the discussion boards to, there's only two of them, and I've crafted them to be like a preliminary work towards the assignments. So each one of them precedes one of the assignments, and it's a chance for you to begin working through some of the thoughts of the assignments. It's a chance for classmates to chime in and help each other. It's a chance for me to see kind of what you're thinking and help parse out some things as well. And so the criteria for discussion board involvement is written there. Please read that closely. 300 words maximum. Now, this is important because we need to learn how to say things concisely. And if a discussion board goes on and on and on, then that will actually be a deduction of points. So I know that sometimes it's harder to write in smaller space, but we really want to keep it to a discussion so that people can actually read it and contribute to each other. So pay close attention to the criteria for the discussion boards. I'm turning the page here, looking at page 4, number 3. The comparison paper is something dear to my heart. I, of course, am in the Global Methodist Church. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. And one of my favorite theological exercises in my life has been comparing what different traditions say about different ideas, theological ideas. And so this comparison paper is a chance for you to choose one other Christian tradition, and I've listed the options to choose from, and go research both what Wesleyan Global Methodist, what we believe is Wesleyan Global Methodist, and what that tradition believes about and speaks about the Holy Spirit, and compare. The paper is a comparison. So I've outlined the essay outline, so you don't have to overthink that. Just follow the outline, and you'll get it. Um, but that's going to be a fun project. The other piece is a ministry application presentation. Notice that these papers, these projects are 30% of the grade each. So we want to give a lot of attention to these as they build up. So this is both a summary handout and a presentation. So you will craft a ministry project that is based on pneumatology, that's based on the ministry of the Holy Spirit. So it's a 7-minute, you're aiming for a 7-minute presentation and a 1-page summary. So there must be a demonstrated connection to Wesleyan pneumatology, GMC distinctives. We want to be incorporating different sources, scholarly sources. So the primary thing that I'm grading is actually the 1-page handout that you submit. But participation in the presentation is also a big part of the grade. You can see that in the rubric. I will give more instructions on how we're going to do presentations later in the semester. But essentially, these presentations will be given to other students. So we will talk more about this, but you can read about it in the syllabus. So turning over, and on page 5 begins the calendar, the schedule. And I hope that you find this helpful. It lists the topics and what we're going to be working through. You can see on page 6 some course protocols, some different pieces like that. Going on, um, let's look at rubrics. You can see rubrics on page 8 if you want to know how to get an A. That lists how to get an A, how to get the highest score. When I'm grading, I'm going to be following the rubric, and so you can see where you might have missed points based on the rubric. Yeah, and then on page 11, I've given you a little bit of a flow of the lectures we'll be talking about. I think our conversations weekly are going to be so fun, friends. In fact, it's the place where I think that we're going to be able to have a weekly touch point, a weekly chance to process ideas together, to process the readings that we're working through. So I've already been doing, by the way, I've already been doing some of our weekly lectures here in my local church. And the richness of these conversations about the Holy Spirit, it's been so fun. And I want you to hear that I am excited to be on this journey with you. And when I say I'm on this journey with you, I very much mean it. I think the calling to teach is also a calling to learn. And so we learn together. We gather together. We are a community that is submitting ourselves to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the primary teacher, and we're going to grow together. And so if you get lost along the way, please reach out to me. I want every single one of us to succeed and be together in that growth. And so please reach out. Let me know your questions. I will do my best to respond in a timely fashion. That is one of my primary goals of this semester, is to respond in a timely fashion to each of you students so that we can all keep moving together. Um, but it's going to be a good journey. So I hope you find this helpful, this video helpful, and I will see you in class.